Well, thanks for joining again here to go through the 1970 NFL season replay in Pro Strategy Football, which is available on Steam. It's a fantastic PC game if you're a football fan. Historical seasons are available via the mod community as a free download. So you can download whatever season you would like from 1940 until week one of this season. So of content to choose from. There's also sound mods, all sorts of stuff that they have in support of this product that is available free of charge. So I would highly recommend go out, get yourself a copy of this game if you love football. You will not regret it. That said, let's look at our standings here going into the Week 8 games. Here's our NFC conferences. So East Division, we've got the Cardinals on top. In the Central, we got Detroit. In the West, we have LA. In the East of the AFC, we have the surprising Jets on top. We have Pittsburgh in the Central. And in the West, we have Kansas City. Our league leaders, so if we're going into, we're going to look at passing first. Yardage leader is going to be Darryl LaMonica of the Oakland Raiders. Our touchdown leader is Jim Hart of the St. Louis Cardinals. And leading in quarterback rating is Earl Morrall of the Colts, followed by Al Woodall. Actually, I think probably what we're looking at, these three right here, they just started their first game, so obviously the rating is going to be high. So I actually think our ratings leader overall in the season is going to be John Hadel with Jim Hart in second. I think that's a more accurate thing. I think they got their first starts in the last week. So rushing leaders. Our yardage leader is Ed Podolak of the Kansas City Chiefs. Our touchdown leader is going to be Larry Brown of the Washington Redskins, and the longest run is going to be Hewitt Dixon of the Oakland Raiders, a 56-yarder for a touchdown. Looking at receiving, Fred Volitnikoff of the Raiders is leading in yards. Kenny Burrow, he's leading with yards per catch. Touchdown leader is a four-way tie between Gary Garrison of the Chargers, Warren Wells of the Raiders, Speedy Thomas of the Bengals, and Wendell Tucker of the Los Angeles Rams. Our longest reception is running back Floyd Little of the Denver Broncos. He had the 84-yard touchdown catch. Gary Garrison, San Diego for the receivers. 80-yard touchdown pass for him. Looking at defense, our tackle leader is going to be Dick Butkus of the Bears. Merlin Olsen has the most tackles for loss with 16 for the Rams. Our sack leader is Fred Dreyer. He's been having a whale of a season so far for the Giants. Interception leader, we have a group of guys at 4 here, led by Clarence Scott of the Boston Patriots. Edgar Chandler of the Buffalo Bills. He's recovered 3 fumbles, one of which went back for a touchdown. And then we have a group of guys that have scored defensive touchdowns. Edgar Chandler, Jamie Rivers, Willie Lanier, Pat Fisher, all the way down to Nate Wright. Okay, so let's go to our Week 8 schedule. So we have Cincinnati visiting Buffalo. San Francisco going into Chicago. The Colts visiting the Packers in Lambeau. The Oilers will be playing the Chiefs. That's going to be a rain game. And just looking up at Lambeau, snow game up there. The Falcons will be in LA to play the Rams. The Lions take the trip down south in the rain to play New Orleans. Dallas heads to Yankee Stadium to take on the Giants, and that is a game with pouring rain. So that'll be a sloppy game. Let's see if Dallas can continue winning here. They finally got off a bit of a losing streak and won a game, so let's see if they can continue that. Cleveland heads to the Coliseum in Oakland to play the Raiders. Dolphins at Philadelphia and Franklin Field. The Jets will be in Pittsburgh. Denver at San Diego, taking on the Chargers. The winless Boston Patriots will be playing the first place in the NFC East St. Louis Cardinals, who have won 6 games in a row. And the Minnesota Vikings traveling to RFK to take on the Washington Redskins. So I'll sim the games. And like usual, we'll go through the highlights. I'll find out what's going on when same time that you guys do. So I don't know the scores in advance. I don't know the highlights in advance. I'm seeing them all for the first time. And just as you would if we were sitting together. So let's look at the highlights, starting with Cincinnati at Buffalo. All right. Well, we are at 13-18 in the first. Virgil Carter throws an interception to Butch Bird of the Bills. 10-22 in the first. The drive bogs down, and Guthrie misses wide left on a 28-yard attempt, so the score remains 0-0. 3:48 in the first. Virgil Carter has the Bengals on the doorstep, and Paul Robinson runs up the middle, 2-yard touchdown run. Bengals up 7-0. Second quarter action now. Pitch to O.J. Simpson, and O.J. is off to the races. That'll be touchdown Buffalo. 35-yard run for O.J. Simpson. And that'll get Buffalo on the board. We have a tie game at 7. Second quarter here. Horst Mullman will try a field goal. And that is good. 42-yard attempt by Mullman gives Cincinnati the lead 10-7. We're still in the second quarter, 6:15 left in the first half. O.J. Simpson again goes around the corner. Touchdown. That's a 15-yard run this time for O.J. Simpson. Extra points good. 14-10 Buffalo. Mullman. That looks wide right. 47-yard attempt with 4:24 in the second. No good. A minute 27 left in the second. Virgil Carter again marching the Bengals downfield, and he hits Lamb. And Lamb is in for the score in the waning minutes of the first half. Cincinnati goes up 17-14. We're now in the third quarter. And Robinson gets another touchdown run, a 2-yarder this time with 5:27 in the third. 13-18 in the fourth, Buffalo. We have another handoff to O.J. Simpson and a 3-touchdown day for O.J. Simpson. 4-yard touchdown run. 24-21 Cincinnati over Buffalo. Shaw, the beginning of the fourth quarter. He overthrows his receiver and is picked up by Fletcher Smith of the Bengals. 9:57 in the fourth. Long field goal by Horst Mohlman of the Bengals. And he's wide right on that. 52-yard attempt goes awry. Scores unchanged. 7:49 in the fourth. Shaw back to pass. And Lamar Parrish steps in the front of that one, and he returns it to the Cincinnati 45. Another long field goal try by Horst Mohlman with 4:48 in the fourth. And that one looks like that just eked over the crossbar. 44-yard attempt is good, extending the Cincinnati lead 27-21. Minute 10 left. And Shaw completes a pass to Clyde Glosson for the first down, converting the fourth down attempt. 28 seconds left, and Cincinnati is going to wrap this one up. Your final score, 27-21, Cincinnati over the Buffalo Bills. Royce Berry will be your MVP. 8 tackles and 2 sacks. Looking at the numbers, that's looking at it, purple on both sides. Cincinnati comes out top in the ledger, 27-21. Looking at the Bengal numbers, Virgil Carter, 13-23, 185 yards, a TD and an interception. Had a halfback pass by Paul Robinson that was completed for 15 yards. The rushing game for Cincinnati today, 43 yards from Paul Robinson and 2 touchdowns. Receiving, Speedy Thomas, big day with 79 yards. Bob Trumpy, the tight end, he had 59 yards, and then Ron Lamb had the 135-yard touchdown reception. Here's the total offense numbers for the Cincinnati Bengals. Looking at the defense, Bill Berge, 9 tackles, leads the way for the Cincinnati defense. Royce Berry, his big day, 8 tackles, 3 for loss. 2 of those were sacks. And you had Fletcher Smith and Lamar Parrish picking off Shaw. Mohlman's day, he hit 50% of his field goals. He was they were making some fairly long attempts, so a good day overall for Mohlman. Even though we're talking 45-yard, 50-yard plus field goals that he was attempting here. Dave Lewis's punting numbers didn't get into the game very much. Lamar Parrish and Paul Robinson, their kick return numbers. Lamar Parrish and Essex Johnson, not much going on in the punt return game, just a bunch of fair catches. Now let's look at Buffalo in a losing effort. Dennis Shaw, 14-34, 211 yards. He didn't get any touchdowns. He was picked off twice. And O.J. Simpson, big game for O.J. on the ground. 157 yards and 3 touchdowns. The Heisman Trophy winner and first-round draft choice showed up today in a big way for the Bills, but in a losing effort. Receiving for the Bills, you have Haven Moses and Marlon Briscoe. Leading the way there, Haven Moses, 84 yards. Briscoe, 76. And total offense numbers for the Buffalo Bills. All their offense coming on the legs of O.J. Simpson. On defense, Edgar Chandler had 7 tackles. We have Mike Stratton with a sack. Ron McJoel with a sack. Butch Bird with an interception. Guthrie missed his only field goal attempt, but was good on extra points. McGuire's punting day, 41-yarder. 3 punts, 2 of them inside the 20. Alexander and Ike Hill, their kick return numbers. Farr and Ike Hill returning punts today. Well, there you go. So a 6-point victory for the Cincinnati Bengals over the Buffalo Bills in War Memorial Stadium. Now we move on to San Francisco visiting Chicago in windy Wrigley Field. 2:07 in the first. Concannon hands off to Ronnie Ball, and he is in for a 1-yard touchdown plunge. Chicago goes up 7-0 late in the first. Brody hands off to Cunningham with 2 minutes left, and Cunningham coughs off the ball. Chicago recovers. With 30 seconds left, Concannon drives the team down, and he sneaks in for the touchdown. Chicago surprising the 49ers. 14-0. We're in the second quarter now. Concannon back to pass. He hits Turner. And Turner is tackled at what looks like the 8 by Rosie Taylor for a 25-yard reception. 9:26. Percival. Chip shot field goal to extend Chicago's lead. We're now up 17-0. 8:03 in the second. Brody back to pass. He hits Riley. Riley is hit and fumbles the ball. Chicago recovers at their 29. Concannon under center for the Bears. He hands off to Shai. And Shai cuts through the 49er defense in for a touchdown. 23-yard touchdown run. Don Shai scores now 24-0. But wait. 1:30 left in the second, and the Bears are pouring it on. Another Ronnie Bull touchdown run. 31-0. A shocker in Wrigley Field. The Bears are just devastating the 49ers. We have another fumble. Concannon in the third quarter. Another pitch to Ronnie Bull. This time Ronnie Bull fumbles the ball. San Francisco recovers with 7:24 in the third. Brody under center for the 49ers. He's driving the 49ers down. He looks, he evades the sack. Hits Gene Washington for a 10-yard touchdown pass. The 49ers get on the board. 31-7 Chicago. 14:02 in the fourth. Brody and Washington connect up again for a touchdown, 17 yards. And San Francisco's coming back. They missed the extra point. 13 is the points for San Francisco, 31 for Chicago. Sorry, make that 34 for Chicago. Late fourth quarter field goal by Percival. Last gasp for Brody and the Niners. He misses Gene Washington, and your game is over. This is a shocking upset for today. The Chicago Bears manhandle the San Francisco 49ers, and I mean manhandle. That Bears defense absolutely mauled the 49ers today. A win of 34-13 Chicago. Ronnie Bull is your MVP of the game. 112 yards, 2 touchdowns. Domination by the Chicago Bears. They were something else. And look at what that Bears defense did to San Francisco. No running game. They did give up some passing yards. They sacked Brody for 15 yards. They just kept the 49ers offense fairly one-dimensional today. Great team effort by the Chicago Bears. Let's look at San Francisco's individual numbers. John Brody was 21 out of 36, 247 yards. He did have 2 touchdown passes, both to Gene Washington. And that is a absolutely impotent running attack. The Chicago Bears defense put a licking on the 49er running game. Cunningham fumbled and gave it away to the Bears. Preston Riley, he had 2 fumbles that went to the Bears. So the Bears were hitting hard and causing turnovers. Gene Washington is your top receiver for San Francisco with 85 yards and 2 touchdowns. Total offense numbers, if San Francisco was moving the ball, it was all through the air today. Nothing happening on the ground. There was nowhere to go for the Niners on the ground against the Bears. On defense, Dave Wilcox is your leader with 12 tackles. We don't have any sacks. We do have a fumble recovery by Bruce Taylor. Bruce Gossett, he missed an extra point. Spurrier's Day. Tucker and Taylor returning kicks for San Francisco today, their production. Taylor and Fuller returning punts. All right, let's look at the victorious Chicago Bears, their offensive numbers. Concannon, 13 of 21. No touchdowns, no interceptions. 135 yards. Now we look at their rushing game, and boy, did Ronnie Bull and Don Shy just eviscerate that 49er defense on the ground. 112 yards alone for Ronnie Bell and Ronnie Bull for 2 touchdowns. Don Shy, 87 yards and a touchdown. Receiving, Dick Gordon, 76 yards receiving. Here's your offense numbers. And Bears defense, they were hitting today. Butkus, 7 tackles. Ed Obradovich, 2 sacks. Butkus, Dick Daniels, and Willie Hallman recovered fumbles. Percival's numbers today didn't miss a thing. And Bobby Joe Green's punting numbers, he had a good day punting, averaged 42 yards, had 4 punts, 2 of them inside the 20. Punt return numbers, Cecil Turner had a kick return of 41 yards. Good day for him. Punt numbers for Ron Smith and Lindsey Cole. And that is a wrap. The Chicago Bears stun the San Francisco 49ers 34-13. Did not see that one coming, especially after the last couple games the Bears have played. Now we move on to snowy Lambeau Field with the Colts and the Packers. Good old old-time NFL matchup between 2 powerhouse teams in the 60s. The Colts and the Packers. Let's see what goes on in the game. 9:40 in the first. Earl Morrall under center. And he hits Jefferson, and he's going to be gone up the sideline. Yep, he's outdistancing the Packer defenders. And Roy Jefferson connects with Earl Morrall. 93-yard stunner puts Baltimore up 7-0. First quarter, Morrall back at it again. And he hits Eddie Hinton in the end zone, just out of the outstretched arms of a Green Bay defender. 14-0 Baltimore. Bart Starr, he's looking downfield. And he's got Clancy in the end zone. Great pass by the veteran Bart Starr. 25-yarder. That puts Green Bay into the game. 14-7 Baltimore. Jim O'Brien. Field goal late in the first half, and it is good, so extends the Baltimore lead. We are now at 17-7. Third quarter action. Livingston for Green Bay. And he misses it. Looks like he slipped a bit while he was trying to make that attempt. Now we're into the fourth, 12:47. O'Brien again. And he kicks that into the snowbank. Now we're at 27. Baltimore with 11:35 in the fourth. Bart Starr back, and he misfires. Interception by Jim Duncan, who takes it back to the Green Bay 47. 7:55 in the fourth. Earl Morrall back to pass. Oh my! He's got Roy Jefferson again in the end zone. 20-yard touchdown pass from Earl Morrall to Roy Jefferson. 5:15 in the fourth. Bart Starr. He's looking. And he finds Travis Williams in the end zone. He splits the Baltimore defenders. Touchdown, Green Bay. 2:28 left. Bart Starr. He finds Carroll Dale, and Carroll Dale gets out of bounds to save some time. 1:55 left in the game. Bart Starr. Incomplete pass, trying to hit John Spills to convert the fourth down, and that's going to be it. Oh, and Donnie Anderson, unbelievable! Donnie Anderson punting, hit the crossbar, it bounced back, and Baltimore recovered it for a touchdown. Oh, what a heartbreaker! And with 3 seconds left, Bart Starr hits Mike Carter for 24 yards, but it's too little too late. Time runs out. And your final score, the Baltimore Colts 34, Green Bay 14. Roy Jefferson is your MVP. Big day for Roy Jefferson. 262 yards receiving. But I have to admit, that Donnie Anderson punt that hit the crossbar and was recovered by Baltimore, I don't think I've ever seen that. That just, what a shocker. I guess when things go wrong, they go wrong. Looking at the game stats, both teams put up over 400 yards in offense. Looking at Baltimore's individual numbers, Earl Morrall, the veteran, giving Johnny Unitas another week off. 23 of 30, 394 yards, 3 touchdowns. I'm thinking McCaffrey is going to have a hard time bringing Unitas back in because Earl Morrall has had one heck of a hot hand at quarterback for Baltimore. Look, awesome quarterback rating. The running game, kind of nondescript, 36 yards for Norm Bulash. Big day for the Baltimore receivers, starting with Roy Jefferson's 262 yards and 2 touchdowns. Eddie Hinton had 76 yards and a touchdown. And the total offense numbers for the Baltimore Colts. Getting a victory in snowy Lambeau Field against the Green Bay Packers. And on Baltimore's defense, again, Mike Curtis, 12 tackles, 1 for loss, and a sack. Jim Duncan had an interception. Roy Hilton had a sack. Jim O'Brien's day, in the snow and slush of Lambeau Field, he was perfect. David Lee Good day punting, a 48-yarder. Ron Garden, he had one return for 23 yards. Punt return numbers for Baltimore. Okay, let's look at Green Bay. Bart Starr, 23 of 48, 322 yards in the air, 2 TDs and an interception. Good day for Bart Starr. Donnie Anderson led the way in rushing in the game, 82 yards for him. Looking at Green Bay's receiving numbers, Clancy 106 yards, Carroll Dale, the veteran, 97 yards. Travis William, the veteran halfback, he got 44 yards and a touchdown. Other touchdown was Clancy. Total offense for Green Bay today. Tough loss. Absolutely a tough loss. Looking at defense, Fred Carr, 11 tackles and a sack. Ray Nitschke showed up with 9 tackles. Lionel Aldridge, the veteran, he had a sack as well for the Pack. Livingston missed his only field goal attempt. Like I said, looked like his footing, he kind of slipped a little bit as he was kicking. Donnie Anderson, 6 punts. You count that one as blocked where it went off the crossbar. Good punt. That just, talk about hard luck. Kick return numbers for Green Bay today. Ellis and Krause. Willie Wood and Ken Ellis returning punts. Not much happening. Well, we leave the snowy confines of Lambeau Field for our next game, which is in Municipal Stadium in Kansas City, where we have an old AFL matchup, the Houston Oilers against the Kansas City Chiefs. Let's head to the game. 6:28 in the first. Oh, that looked like Ed Polak got stuffed at the line on that 4th down try, and he was. Roy Jarella, he's trying a field goal here, and that looks like that one went wide left, and it did. 0-0, minute 51 in the first. 9:26 in the second. Jan Stenerud lines up a field goal in the rain. And that one's good for 28 yards. So Kansas City gets out ahead 3-0. We're at the 2-minute mark in the first half, and Jarella pops that one in from 11 yards. We have a tie game, 3 each. 8:55 in the third. We have a punt. Oh, no, and it's blocked. Kansas City blocks the punt, and Curly Culp picks it up and rumbles downfield, takes it to the Houston 7. 8:05 in the third. Livingston hands off to Podolak. Podolak, easy score. 4-yard touchdown run for Ed Podolak. That'll put Kansas City up 10-3. With 2:02 left in the third, we have Podolak again. 5-yard touchdown run. 2:47 left in the game. Livingston hands off to, yes, Ed Podolak. But this time, Podolak fumbles the ball. Houston recovers at the 21. 11 seconds left. Kansas City's got the ball. Houston's out of timeouts, and that will be your final score. Kansas City beats their old AFL rival Houston Oilers 17-3. Ed Podolak is your MVP. No surprise there. Looking at the game stats, it was pretty much all Kansas City today. And let's look at Houston. Charlie Johnson, 14 of 30, 157 yards. No TDs, no interceptions. Not much going on for the veteran today. On the ground, it looks like Houston could not get anything going in the wet conditions and against that Kansas City defense. Joe Dawkins, 33 yards. Receiving, not much as well. 51 yards for Alvin Reed. And your total offense for Houston. On defense, Garland Boyette, he had 9 tackles today. Tom Domrys, he had a sack. And Elvin Bethea, he had 2 sacks today. Jarella, he missed 1 field goal, made the other. He was all that Houston could muster in the way of scoring today. Spike Jones, a busy day. Punting, had 1 blocked. And kick returns. Levias, 31-yard return on kicks. Punt returns, Levias had a 12-yard return. Let's look at Kansas City. And we have Mike Livingston, who is still filling in apparently for Len Dawson. 13 of 23, 153 yards. No TDs, no interceptions. Again, Podolak with the big day on the ground, 105 yards and 2 touchdowns. On the receiving side, the great Otis Taylor with 50 yards of receiving yards. Total offense for the Kansas City Chiefs, who eke out a win in the rain at home. On defense, Willie Lanier comes up big today, 11 tackles, 2 of them for loss. Curly Culp got that blocked punt and almost rumbled that in for a touchdown, just came up 7 yards short. Jan Stenerud's day, another typical line for Jan Stenerud. Reliable kicker. Gerald Wilson, a good day for him punting. He was definitely one of the better punters in the AFL and then coming into the NFL in 70. 62-yarder, and of course over half of his punts are inside the 20. Robert Holmes, Ned Podolak returning kicks. Podolak and Willie Mitchell returning punts. Well, Kansas City gets a win. That will help stretch their lead in the AFC West. Our next game is going to be Atlanta and the Los Angeles Rams in sunny LA in the Coliseum. 70 degrees, perfect weather for a football game. Let's go to the highlights. 14:02 in the first. Bob Berry under center for the Falcons. He drops back to pass. And he hits Maxi Bond, and we have an interception right off the bat for the Los Angeles Rams, setting them up for a score. Roman Gabriel back to pass. He's looking. He finds Studstill, and he gets the first down. They are inside the 20. 5:33 in the first. Gabriel back to pass. He avoids the sack and hits Les Josephson on the screen. Josephson runs in, 10-yard touchdown. Los Angeles up 7-0. We're in the second quarter now, and Roman Gabriel, he turns it over. Don Hansen reaches up and grabs that Gabriel pass. We have 2 minutes left in the first half. And Ken Vineyard's kick is good from 19 yards to give Atlanta 3 points. 7-3 Los Angeles. Minute 6 in the second quarter. Gabriel, he's back to pass. And Al Levan, he grabs the interception. 54 seconds left in the second. Barry back to pass. And Kermit Alexander returns the favor. Alexander picks off Barry with 54 seconds left in the first half, which nothing comes of it. We're now in the third. David Ray, he punches through a 13-yard kick to extend Los Angeles' lead. Now we're in the fourth. Vineyard again. He gets that one through. Los Angeles up 10-6 in the fourth. David Ray, low kick. And he missed it. 36-yard attempt. That didn't look good coming off his foot at all. A minute 12 left in the fourth. Bob Barry back to pass. He's got Brunson, and Brunson is in the end zone. Unbelievable. A minute 12, and Atlanta strikes. David Ray, with 15 seconds left, kicks it through. We're going down to the final second. Bob Barry, he's looking. Good protection. And he misses flatly. Good defense by Richie Pettibone. He wasn't going to get a hold of that. There is your game. That one kind of went back and forth a little bit, but the Rams came back and tied it with just seconds left in the game. 13-13 tie in LA. Your MVP, and we're calling his name as an MVP for the first time this season, the great Claude Humphreys. Look at that line, folks. 7 tackles, 5 sacks. Big day for Atlanta's probably their best player on defense, the great Claude Humphreys. Looking at the game stats, LA really dominated the game, but only could come out with a tie. And it took them, literally in the waning seconds of the game to even get that. Atlanta's numbers. Bob Barry, 12 of 29, 134 yards, a TD and 2 interceptions. Not a great day for Bob Barry. The Atlanta rushing attack led by Wages and Cannonball Butler didn't get much on the ground against the fearsome foursome. Receiving, Jim Mitchell leads with 41 yards. Brunson had the 23-yard touchdown reception. Total offense numbers by the Atlanta Falcons. On defense, Tommy Nobis, 13 tackles, 1 for loss, but that's the defensive number of the defensive line of the season so far. Claude Humphreys, 7 tackles, 6 for loss. 5 of those 6 were sacks. He was all over Roman Gabriel today. Hansen and Levan with interceptions. We've called Levan's name numerous times this season. He showed up today and got another pick. Vineyard, another good day for the Falcons place kicker. Billy Lothridge, good day for him as well. And looking at the kick returners. Sonny Campbell had a 30-yard return. Cannonball Butler, 27. Punt returns, Mallory and McCauley. Let's look at LA's numbers. Gabriel is 22 out of 38, 311 yards, a TD, 2 interceptions. He was sacked 5 times for 28 yards. Claude Humphreys was a nightmare for Roman Gabriel today. The Los Angeles rushing attack. Well, Roman Gabriel was running for his life a whole lot today, so he led in yardage. Les Josephson, he had 40 yards, but Claude Humphreys was all over Roman Gabriel. On the receiving side, Jack Snow, big day for him, 175 yards of receiving yards. Les Josephson had that screen pass touchdown. Total offense numbers by Los Angeles. And look at the defensive numbers. Merlin Olsen, big day for him, 6 tackles, 4 for loss, and a sack. Coy Bacon, he got a sack. Maxie Bond, he got an interception. Kermit Alexander also got an interception. Deacon Jones and Jack Pardee, 2 tackles, but each one of those was for loss. Talbert, tackle for loss. Bond, tackle for loss. So again, the LA defense flexed its muscles today. David Ray, his field goal woes continue. Pat Studstill's punting numbers for the day. Heyman and Kermit Alexander. Heyman was busy today on kick returns. He had a 26-yarder, was his longest. Identical numbers for Heyman and Alexander in punt returns. Well, tie game in LA, 13-13. And now we move on to Detroit facing New Orleans down in the rain in Tulane Stadium. Let's see what the Lions can do. 10:34 in the first. Errol Mann lines up a kick for the Lions. And that one's good. Lions up top, 3-0. We're still in the first. Lions driving. They're knocking on the door. Mel Farr gets the pitch, and he is in. Mel Farr, 2-yard touchdown run, adds to the lead. We've got a 10-0 game. Mel Farr again, this time in the second quarter. Touchdown run, Mel Farr. 2 touchdowns on the day for the Lions halfback. Well, make that 3 touchdowns on the day for the Lions halfback. This time late in the second quarter. It's 24-0 Lions. And Charlie Sanders, the great tight end, he catches that ball and he is gone. Charlie Sanders, 38-yard reception from Greg Landry, and the Lions are putting a beating on the Saints. All Lions in the first half. There we go, another score, this time Larry Walton for 21 yards. First quarter ends with Lions up 38-0. We're in the third. Mel Farr again. And Mel Farr gets the first down with a 20-yard gain. 4:33 in the third. Landry under center for the Lions, and he hands off to Aldi Taylor. Well, Mel Farr can't get all the touchdowns. Aldi Taylor gets one, a 1-yard run. We're now 2:27 in the third, and the Saints are trying a longish field goal. Tom Dempsey punches it in from 31 yards to get New Orleans on the board. Now we're at the beginning of the fourth quarter. And the Saints get a conversion on 4th down. They drive. Kilmer has them down inside the 10. Danny Abramowitz makes a reception between a gaggle of Detroit defensemen, and he gets the score. And your winners in a walkaway, the Detroit Lions 45, New Orleans Saints 10. MVP, Mel Farr, 24 rushes, 129 yards, and 3 touchdowns. He had a big game. And utter domination by the Detroit Lions. And our Lions numbers. Landry didn't throw the ball very much because he really didn't have to. 6 of 12, 100 yards, 2 touchdowns. One of them a 38-yard touchdown completion to Sanders. And look at that number, that 1-2 punch of the Lions on the ground. Aldi Taylor, Mel Farr. Taylor, 114 yards and a touchdown. Farr, 129 yards and 3 touchdowns. Not much happening in the air, but it didn't have to. But still, Walden and Sanders each got a touchdown reception. Dominating numbers by the Detroit Lions. Looking at Detroit's defense, Uyghur, he had 6 tackles leading the way. Lucci, he got a sack. Robb, he got 2 sacks. Good day for him. Alex Karras got a sack, and so did Jerry Rush. So 1, 2, 3, 5 sacks on the day for the Lion defense, which made Billy Kilmer miserable. But just consider, in our last game, one guy had 5 sacks. Arrow Man, his day, good line. Herman Weaver, good day punting. When he was called on to punt, which was only twice. Williams and Eddie's kick return numbers. Barney and Eddie's punt return numbers. All right, let's look at New Orleans in a horrible losing effort. 18 of 37 for Billy Kilmer. 243, 1 touchdown, was running around all day. 5 sacks for 37 yards. Next, absolutely no rushing attack at all for the Saints today. Abramowitz, 139 yards and a touchdown in a losing effort. And the offense numbers for the Saints. Brutal day, brutal home loss to the Lions. New Orleans defensive numbers, they were on the field quite a bit. Burkett, 17 tackles. Morgan, 10 tackles. No sacks, no interceptions, no fumbles, nothing. Dempsey, the only time he got in, 1 chance for a field goal, 1 chance for an extra point. He was good on both. Julian Fagan's numbers today, all of his punts actually ended up inside the 20. And your New Orleans kick returners, Kenny Burrow had a 28-yard kick return. Al Dodd and Dickie Lyons, all it was fair catches today for the Saints in the punt return game. Commanding win for the Detroit Lions. Now we move on. Dallas at New York in the pouring rain in Yankee Stadium. This should be a messy game. And here Dallas is starting to get a little bit of momentum, and they go into New York in just horrible weather. Can Dallas overcome and continue the win streak of 1? That says something about their season. So let's go to Yankee Stadium and see the action. 8:29 in the first. Pete Gogolak kicks the ball through and puts New York on top 3-0 in the first. 8:23 in the first. Morton under center for the Cowboys. Hands off to Calvin Hill, and Calvin Hill fumbles the ball after a 3-yard gain. This is not starting out well for the Cowboys. Gogolak. Good. New York up 6-0 in the first quarter. We're in the late second quarter. Gogolak again kicks that one through, extending the New York lead 9-0. We're at the end of the first half, and Ron Johnson runs the ball in. Touchdown, Giants. And this just is not looking like a good game for the Cowboys. We're in the third quarter now. Mike Clark gets a 14-yard field goal. The game is now 16-3 Giants. Giants have the ball 14-19 in the fourth. Ron Johnson breaks away and touchdown Giants. What does Tom Landry have to do? Well, fourth quarter, Calvin Hill gets a late touchdown. 23-10 Giants. Giants will add on to that lead, but wait, Gogolak, he missed that one right, so the score remains unchanged with 2 minutes left in the game. 23-10 Giants. And that will be your final. Cowboys' woes continue again. Your MVP today was Ron Johnson with 146 yards rushing and 2 touchdowns. And yeah, that's a dominating game for the Giants. Nothing going right for the Cowboys. I am perplexed. This Cowboys team in real life was really, really good, and they are just not putting it together in the replay. Craig Morton's day, 13-22, 156 yards. Not bad, but where are the touchdowns? Dallas rushing game, 43 yards from Dwayne Thomas. Calvin Hill had a touchdown, but he also fumbled the ball away again. Dwayne Thomas, he had a fumble. Where's the rushing game as well? There just seems to be no answers on offense for Tom Landry. Receiving, Holman, 55 yards. Your big name players, Ditka 12 yards. Bob Hayes, 29 yards. Lance Retzel had 41. But, Hayes, Hill, Ditka, Lance Retzel, nowhere to be found. And when Dennis Homan, who is not, is pretty much buried in the depth chart, is your leading receiver with 55 yards. That says something. Well, the total offense numbers for the Cowboys and another loss. On defense, these guys are getting weared out. They're just getting worn down. They continue to play good, solid defense, but they're on the field a lot. And we're in week 8 now. They're a tired bunch. But Leroy Jordan showed up, 12 tackles. But again, no sacks, no interceptions. Jethro Pugh had 3 tackles for loss. Clark's numbers for the day, kicking. Whidbey's punting line, 45-yard was his longest one. Dwayne Thomas and Margene Atkins kick return numbers. Renfro and Hayes punt returns today. Now let's look at the Giants numbers. Fran was 22 out of 28, 234 yards. Wasn't sacked. Ron Johnson, his big day, 146 yards. He just he just pummeled and ground down that Doomsday defense. 2 touchdowns for him. New York's receiving numbers. Clifton McNeil, 87 yards. And the total offense numbers for the New York Giants. Their defense, good day for them as well. 8 tackles for Hazeltine, 2 for loss. One of those was a sack. Freddie Dryer is almost like a sack a game or 2 sacks a game kind of guy. He's having a whale of a season when it comes to sacks. Douglas picked up the Calvin Hill fumble. Gogolak, his kicking line for today in the victory over the Cowboys. Bill Johnson, he was only punting twice today, so not much work for him in the rain. Les Shy and Bobby Duhan, only 1 return for Shy for 29 yards on kicks. Punt returns, not much there either. Each had a return. Well, I think we can pretty much safe to say, unless Dallas has a miracle run here, their season is done. And what an absolute disappointment. Speaking of disappointments, Cleveland, who should be having a better showing, they're equally as bad, but they've lost 4 in a row. Will they break the losing streak against the Raiders in Oakland? 8:40 in the first. LaMonica back to pass for the Raiders. He's looking. And he missed. Looked like Madden was going for a 4th down conversion. That didn't pay off. 2:26 in the first. LaMonica again. And he hits Freddie Biletnikoff for a touchdown. LaMonica to Biletnikoff for 31 yards and a touchdown, and that's going to get Oakland on the board 7-0. 4 seconds left in the first, and Bill Nelson overthrows everybody except for George Atkinson. We're now in the second quarter. LaMonica looking, he hits Smith. Smith gets the first down and fumbles the ball at the Cleveland 44. Recovered by Cleveland. Well, they didn't do anything with it. So ball back to Oakland, and George Blanda, well, he hits that 40-yarder to extend the lead 10-0 Oakland. We're at the near the end of the first half. Bill Nelson hands off to Bo Scott. He barely gets into the end zone. That will get Cleveland on the board. We're now late in the second quarter. And Bill Nelson heaves interception that is picked off by Dave Grayson of the Raiders. Third quarter action now. Blanda's field goal is blocked, but recovered by Raymond Chester. 8:30 in the third quarter, Bill Nelson back to pass. He hits Gary Collins, and Gary Collins is up the sidelines for a Browns touchdown. 38-yard reception by Gary Collins. Cleveland now up 14-10, 2:42 in the third. And Charlie Smith gets the first down. We're now at the beginning of the fourth quarter. Dixon turns the corner and gets a 2-yard touchdown run for the Raiders. Raiders ahead 16-14. Extra point no good. 9:47 in the fourth. Blanda gets a 16-yard field goal to tack on 3. 19-14. We're in the waning seconds of the fourth. LaMonica takes the knee. And the Browns end up disappointed again. They actually got points, but no-go today for the Browns in Oakland. Oakland wins 19-14. Daryl LaMonica is your game MVP. 285 yards passing and a touchdown. Looking at the game stats, dominating win for Oakland. Look at that time of possession. Oakland, a little over 40 minutes of time of possession. 19 minutes, 17 seconds for the Browns. Oof. All right, let's look at Cleveland's numbers. Bill Nelson, not a good day for him. 9 of 18. He did complete 50% for 115 yards. He did get a touchdown, but he also turned the ball over twice. Leroy Kelly and Bo Scott couldn't get anything really going on the ground. Gary Collins, your leader in receiving yards today for the Browns, and he did get a touchdown out of that. Those are some pretty weak offensive numbers. Browns defense, they were out on the field quite a bit. Jim Houston and Eric Barnes leading the ways on tackles. Jack Gregory, he got a lone sack. Andrews recovered a fumble. Yeah, 2 extra points by Cockcroft. Punting day for Cockcroft. Homer Jones and Reese Morrison. Homer Jones had a 33-yard kick return. Only 1 punt return, and that was 34 yards by Reese Morrison. Let's look at Oakland's numbers. Daryl LaMonica, your MVP. Good line today, 24-38, 285 yards, and a touchdown. Charlie Smith had a big day on the ground, 127 yards. Hewitt Dixon had 92 yards and a touchdown. Bolitnikoff and Warren Wells, big day for them, but look at that. Rod Sherman, he had a good day as well with 76 yards. Total offense, just an absolutely dominating game by the Raider offense. Your Raider defense, they didn't get a ton of work, but when they were in, they made Cleveland pay. Carlton Holtz and Lasky and Dan Connors, they each led with 5 tackles. No sacks, but Atkinson and Grayson got the 2 Bill Nelson interceptions. Blanda did miss a field goal, and he missed an extra point. So not a great kicking day for the veteran. Mike Eyeshide, he only punted once. Wyatt and Atkinson's kick return numbers. Atkinson and Rod Sherman's punt return numbers. Well, Blanton Collier doesn't seemingly have any answers to get the Browns going. Browns continue to struggle. Now we move on to Franklin Field in Philadelphia, where the Eagles will host the Dolphins. 9:58 in the first. Wuchnick has the ball, and he converts the fourth down, the short fourth down conversion. 6:30 in the first. Snead, he has the Eagles inside the 10, and we have a 4-yard touchdown pass by Norm Snead to Harold Jackson to put Philly up 6-0. Snead again in the first. Oh, and he's picked off by Curtis Johnson of Miami on the Miami 12. 8:59 in the second. Snead driving the Eagles downfield. Then he gets Wuchnick in the end zone. 12-yard touchdown pass for Norm Snead to Wuchnick, and that is going to put Philadelphia up 13-0. And the Eagles look like they are driving, and no. Wuchnick fumbles after a 9-yard gain and gives Miami the ball at midfield. 1:53 in the second. Snead hands off to Cyril Pinder, and he fumbles after a short gain, giving Miami the ball on the 29-yard line. Greasy drives the Dolphins down to the doorstep of the end zone, hands off to Jim Kick, and Jim Kick is in for the Dolphins touchdown. 13-7 Philly. 13:30 in the fourth, and Garo Yepremian misses the 35-yard field goal attempt. 12:45 in the fourth. Snead again under center for the Eagles. Hands off to Wuchnick, who tries a halfback pass that Lloyd Mumford of the Dolphins sniffed out and intercepts at the Philadelphia 35. Greasy back to pass for the Dolphins, and he turns the ball over. Adrian Young picks off Bob Greasy at the Philadelphia 14. Score is still 13-7 here in the waning moments of the fourth quarter. But wait, interception, run back by Curtis Johnson to the Philadelphia 32. The Dolphins, can they score and win this game? Larry Zonka rumbles up the middle, and the Dolphins coming back to take the lead. 14-13. We're now in the last inside 2 minutes on the fourth quarter. Cyril Pinder converts the short fourth down. Eagles, what can they do with it? Well, they don't do anything with it. And that's your ball game. The Miami Dolphins, in a from behind win, eke out a victory in Philadelphia by 1 point. 14-13 Dolphins. Lloyd Mumford is going to be your MVP. He had 7 tackles, a fumble recovery, and an interception. Now let's look at the game stats. Miami's individual stats. Bob Greasy, 6 of 15 for 80 yards and an interception. Not a good day for Bob Greasy. But on the ground, Larry Zonka, he bludgeoned his way to 103 yards of rushing and a touchdown. Jim Kick, he had a touchdown as well, but very little in the way of yardage. 1 yard per attempt, but 1 for a touchdown. Receiving today, Paul Warfield, 47 yards on 4 catches. Total offense for the Miami Dolphins, who came from behind to eke out that win in Philadelphia. On defense, Nick Boncani, 13 tackles. Mike Colon, he had a sack, as did Jim Riley. Lloyd Mumford, Curtis Johnson, 2 interceptions. Lloyd Mumford, an interception. And then Doug Swift and Lloyd Mumford each recovered an Eagles fumble. Yepremian, he missed on his field goal attempt. Larry Seipel's day today, He got 4 inside the 20, and he had a nice 59-yard punt. On kick returns, Mercury Morris only returned 1 kick, and that was for 37 yards. Not much on punt returns. So Phillies numbers. Norm Snead, 21 of 34, 268 yards, 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. And we did see that Wuchnick halfback pass that was picked off. The rushing day today for the Eagles, Pinder and Wuchnick, not bad numbers. The bad numbers were the fact that both of them actually fumbled the ball away to Miami during the day. Receiving, Gary Ballman, 72 yards. Harold Jackson, 67 yards and a touchdown. Wuchnick, 67 yards and a touchdown. Total offense numbers for a heartbreaking loss at home to the Miami Dolphins. From the Philadelphia defensive side of things, Gary Pettigrew, look at that line. 5 tackles, 3 of them for loss and a sack. Adrian Young, 7 tackles, and he got an interception. Billy Hobbs, he ended up with a sack. Mosley's day, he missed an extra point. Bill Bradley's punting line. And Nelson and Wallach, their kick return numbers for today against the Miami Dolphins. Wallach and Hawkins, their punt return numbers. Good return of 10 yards by Wallach. Well, and that is a disappointing loss. Miami came on back and won it. Philly, yeah, that was a tough one if you were in Franklin Field and rooting for your Eagles. 1 point was the margin of victory. Now we move on. The Jets flying into Pittsburgh. Let's see what the results of this game are. 7:55 in the first, and Gene Mingo is going to try a field goal. This is like a crapshoot for Gene Mingo. Don't know if he's going to hit him, but this time he rolled the dice and he came up good. Start of the second quarter. Woodall hands off to Emerson Boozer, and he rumbles in for a 2-yard touchdown to put the Jets up 7-3. 4:40 in the second. Woodall again to Boozer. This time right up the middle on that steel curtain defense. That'll put New York up 14-3. Terry Bradshaw in the third quarter. He hits Early Thomas. Wrong uniform. Early Thomas gets the interception on the 37. 8:33 in the fourth. Bradshaw hands off to Johnny Fuqua. He turns the corner, gets the first down, and fumbles the ball. 2:37 in the fourth. Bradshaw trying to get his team downfield, and they do not convert on the fourth down. In the waning minutes of the fourth, Jim Turner comes in for the Jets to add on to the Jets' lead. It's a 15-yard field goal attempt, and it is good. 6 seconds left. Bradshaw, he's looking. He hits Smith, and a last-second touchdown. Terry Bradshaw to Dave Smith. And that's going to give New York a 17-10 victory over the Pittsburgh Steelers. Emerson Boozer, good game for him, 65 yards rushing, 37 yards receiving, 2 touchdowns on the day for the veteran halfback for the New York Jets. Jets dominated the game for the most part. The turnovers were killing Pittsburgh, but they just couldn't get anything really going. Al Woodall for the New York Jets with Joe Namath out of the lineup. 13 of 25, 164 yards. Emerson Boozer, his day, 65 yards rushing and 2 touchdowns. And George Sauer, 50 yards today in receiving. And offensive numbers for the Jets today in their victory over the Pittsburgh Steelers. And again, I'm kind of trying to keep some of the historical starts the same. So after week 5, you have Joe Namath out for the rest of the season with a broken wrist. And Al Woodall was the quarterback the rest of the way for the Jets. So trying to replicate that. Trying to also replicate the Terry Hanratty, Terry Bradshaw rotation. And also the rotation in both Denver and in Boston. They were rotating their quarterbacks quite a bit. So trying to keep that flow so we get as close to realistic starts as possible. On defense, Larry Grantham, 6 tackles and a sack. Early Thomas, another interception. Hicks picked up a fumble. John Elliott got a sack today. Jim Turner, his day today was just perfect. Steve O'Neill, he was kind of busy. 9 punts, 5 of those inside the 20, and the longest one was 44 yards. Battle and McLean, their kick return numbers. Battle and Eddie Bell returning punts against Pittsburgh. Well, now let's look at Pittsburgh's numbers. Bradshaw's day, 17 of 36, 187 yards, a TD, an interception. Not much going on the ground for Pittsburgh. 29 yards tops was your rushing by Johnny Fuqua. And Fuqua did fumble twice. One of those was lost to the Jets. Through the air, your receiving leader in yardage, Dave Smith with 67 yards. Ron Shanklin had 48. Smith with the touchdown. Offensive numbers by the Steelers. On defense, Andy Russell led with 9 tackles. Chuck Hinton, the veteran, 8 tackles, 5 for loss, one of those a sack. Joe Green, 4 tackles, 2 for loss. Good to see him having a good day. This has to be a first for the season. Gene Mingo hit all of his field goals and extra points in a game. I don't mean to pick on him, but he has been hit and miss all year, and it's been more miss than hit. Bobby Walden, he was busy today. He had a 49-yarder, and 3 of his punts ended up inside the 20. Blount and Staggers returning kicks. Bryant and Staggers returning punts. Hubie Bryant had a 19-yard punt return to go with 7 fair catches. Well, the Jets, they keep on rolling. The surprising New York Jets get another victory, 17-10 over the Pittsburgh Steelers. Now we move off to San Diego to watch the Broncos and the Chargers. 9:24 in the first. John Hadel under center for the Chargers. He's looking. And he hits Lance Alworth in the end zone. Lance Alworth, 17-yard touchdown reception. 7:43 in the first. Liskey is picked off by Bob Howard, stopping a Denver drive. 6:20 in the first. Hadel. He's picked off on the quick pass by Cornell Gordon. 28 seconds in the first. Hoffield kicks that chip shot field goal through to get Denver on the board. We are 7-3. And we're looking at another kick here. And that's a no-good kick by Mike Mercer. So San Diego doesn't change the score. It's 7-3. Near the end of the first half, now we get Mercer, who gets a field goal in. It's a 14-yarder. That'll add 3 to the tally for San Diego. 10-3. We're in the second quarter. Hadel back to pass. And he gets Cornell Gordon again. 51 seconds in the second. Liskey under center for Denver. He's back to pass. He's looking. And he finds Walden. Walden scampers into the end zone for an 11-yard touchdown reception from Pete Liskey. We are all tied up at 10 until at the waning moments of the first half. Mike Mercer kicks San Diego ahead, 13-10. We're in the fourth quarter at the start, and Liskey hits Hafner on a 7-yard touchdown pass. Your score is 17-13 Denver. 5:55 in the fourth. Liskey's driving. He hands off to Floyd Little, and Floyd Little turns the corner and is gone. 27-yard run by Floyd Little adds to the Denver score. 24-13 in the fourth. Hadel back to pass. And he finds Gary Garrison in the back of the end zone. 3-yard touchdown pass, Hadel to Garrison. Our score now is 24-20. 15 seconds left, and that'll be your final. The Broncos come into San Diego and get a 4-point victory over the San Diego Chargers. Your MVP, Dave Costa, 9 tackles and a sack. And looking at the game stats for a game where it's that tight, pretty much what you're looking at. Liskey's day for Denver, 18-31, 173 yards, 2 touchdowns and an interception. Floyd Little had 106 yards on the ground and a touchdown. And Denver receiving, Hafner had 62 yards and a touchdown. Walden had that 11-yard touchdown reception. And total offense for Denver Broncos today in their victory over the San Diego Chargers. And let's look at the Denver defense today. Costa, 9 tackles, 3 for loss and a sack. Paul Smith had 2 sacks. Rich Jackson, he had another sack. He's almost a sack a game. Cornell Gordon had Hadel's number, and he picked him off twice. Pete Duranko had a sack as well. Halfield's day kicking. Hit all of his field goals. Didn't miss an extra point. Billy Van Heusen, while he didn't catch a ball today, he did punt a 63-yarder. Anderson and Thompson's kick return numbers today. Thomas and Floyd Little doing the punt return duties for Denver against San Diego. Let's move on to look at the San Diego numbers. John Hadel's day, 21-31, 338 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 2 interceptions. Virtually non-existent San Diego running game. Queen and post, nothing really to write home about at all. Well, if it was going to get done for the Chargers, it was going to get done through the air. Lance Allworth, 139-yard game with a touchdown. Gary Garrison, he got 85 yards and a touchdown. Total offense for the San Diego Chargers, all through the air, next to nothing on the ground. On defense, Pete Barnes led the way with 10 tackles. Bob Briggs had a sack. Bob Howard had an interception. Mike Mercer's day, he missed a field goal. That was costly. Dennis Partey's punting numbers today. He had a 58-yarder and half of his punts inside the 20. Speedy Duncan's and Chris Fletcher's day returning kicks. Duncan got a 31-yarder. Chris Fletcher a 26-yard return. Smith and Fletcher doing punt returns, not much there. Well, let's see how that changes things in the AFC West at the end of this week. Now we're down to our last two games. The winless Boston Patriots versus the St. Louis Cardinals, who have won 6 in a row. Is this the day Boston gets their first win and gets a big upset against a extremely tough St. Louis team? 12:41 in the first. Joe Kapp under center for the Patriots. Hits Turner. And Turner juked around that defensive back, and he's in for a long touchdown. 70-yard touchdown reception. Joe Kapp to bake Turner, and Boston is up 7-0. 5:44 in the first. Jim Bakken's kick is good to get St. Louis rolling, but still, surprisingly, the Patriots are up 7-3. 13:35 in the second. Kapp looking, and he misses Ron Sellers in the end zone. Waning minutes of the first half, and Bakken's kick is good. Bakken adds 3 to St. Louis's score. We're now 7-6. Boston. Minute 53 left in the half, and another Bakken attempt is missed. 33-yarder. 28 seconds left. Another try for Bakken. And he missed that one too. 2 misses by Jim Bakken today. Wow. He's normally pretty automatic. 11:32 in the third. Gino Cappelletti. He punches a 17-yard field goal in to add to Boston's lead. 10-6 Boston. We're in the third quarter. Jimmy Hart under center for the Cardinals. He hands off to MacArthur Lane, and MacArthur Lane is in the end zone. 11-yard touchdown run by the St. Louis running back. St. Louis up 13-10. And Jerry Stovall picks off Joe Kapp. Returns it to the Boston 42. 4:23, Jimmy Hart. He's looking to get another score here if he can. He's looking. He finds MacArthur Lane in the end zone. Touchdown, Cardinals. That'll put the Cardinals up 20-10. Still in the third quarter, Joe Kapp. He's looking. And he looks and he finds Jerry Stovall again for another interception. Hart under center for the Cardinals. We're in the fourth. And he's picked off by Clarence Scott of the Patriots. 36 seconds left. Boston out of timeout. timeouts. They're not going to be able to stop the clock. It winds down. And St. Louis, a little bit of a scare there at the beginning of the game when the Patriots scored on that 70-yard reception. But they come back and win the game 20-10. So Boston's winless streak continues, and the Cardinals, their win streak continues. So they've lost 8 in a row. They're 0-8. Cardinals have won 7 games in a row. Your MVP is MacArthur Lane. 82 yards and a touchdown on the ground, 14 yards and a touchdown in receiving. Yep. Well, Joe Cap was slinging it today. They turned the ball over more than the Cardinals did. Joe Cap's line, 17-41, 241 yards, touchdown and 2 interceptions. Carl Garrett, 20 yards on the ground and 10 rushes. Jim Nantz got nothing on the ground. He had the longest run of 4 yards, ended the day with 0 yards. And Boston's receiving, Bate Turner had 70 yards on that one long touchdown at the beginning of the game. Ron Sellers, 60 yards. Turner, 109 and a touchdown. Total offense for the struggling Boston Patriots. Patriots defense was on the field quite a bit, so Jayuski and Bramlett, they were busy. Hunt got a sack on Jim Hart, as did Houston Antwine. Clarence Scott picked off another pass. Capoletti's day, he was good when he had the opportunity. Janik, busy punting day. Lawson and Garrett returning kicks. Lawson had a 31-yard kickoff return. And nothing going on the punt returns. Lots of fair catches. So, Jimmy Hart, 14-27, 196 yards, a TD and an interception. MacArthur Lane and Sid Edwards, good 1-2 punch on the ground. MacArthur Lane with 82 yards, Sid Edwards 57. MacArthur Lane with the 11-yard touchdown run. And receiving, Dave Williams, 107 yards today. John Gilliam, 50 yards. And then we have MacArthur Lane with that one catch for a touchdown. Offensive numbers for St. Louis and their victory over the Boston Patriots. Defensive numbers for St. Louis. Jamie Rivers, 8 tackles. Don Parrish stepped up and got 2 sacks today. Fred Herron got another sack. Jerry Stovall stepped in front of 2 Joe Cap passes and picked those off. Jim Bakken, uncharacteristically, struggled with field goals today. La Tourette's punting numbers for today versus the Patriots. St. Louis kick returns against the Patriots. And St. Louis punt return action against the Patriots. Johnny Rowland had a 16-yard return. Chuck LaTourette had 5 fair catches. Well, the winning ways continue in St. Louis, and the losing ways continue in Boston. Now we have our last game. The Vikings heading in to play the Redskins in RFK. 8:28 in the first. Oh, and it's a blocked field goal. Wally Hilgenberg, he picks it up, and then stumbles, takes it back to the Minnesota 43. 3:29 in the first, and Freddie Cox, he kicks it through. .10:09 in the second. Another Fred Cox field goal is good. Vikings up 6-0 in Washington. 6:38 in the second. Long field goal for the Redskins, and that one is wide. Score remains 6-0 Minnesota. Minute 45 in the second, another field goal attempt by Washington, and that goes the same way as their last attempt. Wide right. Kurt Knight has missed 2 field goals today. 6 seconds. Will we get the trifecta? 3 missed field goals and a half? And we do.
Wide right.
Oh, bad day for Kurt Knight today and the Redskins. 6:05 in the third. Sonny Jurgensen's looking. And he hits Paul Krause. Paul Krause with the interception, who returns it back to the Washington 43. 3:19 in the third. Quazzo hands off to Dave Osborne, and Osborne cuts his way through the Redskins defense. 18 yards, touchdown, Minnesota. Score 13-0 until Quazzo runs the ball in with 8:52 in the fourth, bringing the score to 20-0. But Jurgensen with 5:28. He hits Walter Roberts in the end zone for a touchdown. Extra point good, 20-7. And that is your game. Minnesota comes in and beats the Redskins 20-7. Dave Osborne is your MVP, 111 yards on the ground, 35 in the air, 1 rushing touchdown. Let's look at the stats. Well, let's see what Minnesota did today in individual player stats. Gary Quazzo, 17-25, 149 yards. No touchdowns or interceptions. Dave Osborne had a big day on the ground. 111 yards, and he got a TD. Gary Quazzo, he scrambled for a TD. Receiving, Bob Grimm with 62 yards. And total offense for the Minnesota Vikings in their victory at Washington. Defensive numbers. Bobby Bryant, 6 tackles. Roy Winston had a sack. Carl Eller, another sack to add to his sack total this season. Krause picked off Jurgensen. Fred Cox had a great day. He was perfect in both field goals and extra points. McNeil's punting, 6 punts. 2 inside the 20. The longest one was 38, and has to do a little bit better than that. I'm sure Bud Grant is hoping for more. On kick returns, we only had 1 kick return by Minnesota, and that was 25 yards by Clint Jones. Punt return numbers for Charlie West and Bob Grimm. All right, let's look at Washington. Sonny Jurgensen, 16-35, 261 yards, a touchdown and an interception. Was sacked twice. And not much in the way of running attack against the Purple People Eaters. Larry Brown, 34 yards on 14 carries. A little bit more in the air. Walter Roberts, 70 yards. Charlie Taylor, 94 yards. Jerry Smith, 66 yards. Roberts with the lone touchdown reception. Total offense for the Washington Redskins. And the Washington defense, Chris Hamburger. He comes up with 13 tackles today. Floyd Peters, he gets the lone Washington sack. No other items here. No interceptions, no fumbles. Kurt Knight, he missed every single field goal he attempted today. That was a little weird. Did get the extra point, but you can kind of probably hang this loss squarely on the foot of Kurt Knight. Mike Bragg, 4 punts today, all of them inside the 20. Harrison Roberts returning punts. Vactor and Harris returning kicks. All right, and that will wrap up week 8 of the that will wrap up week 8 of the 1970 NFL season replay. Quick look at the standings. St. Louis 7-1. I think they have the best record in football. Detroit extends their lead out on the Vikings. Los Angeles gets some breathing room against the Niners. Baltimore still just creeping up and just nipping at the heels of the New York Jets. Steelers in first place in the AFC Central. And Kansas City definitely has some breathing room between itself and second place Denver in the AFC West. I have to say, Cowboy fans, 70 is looking like a lost season in the replay. Just absolutely no offense. Looking at that offensive number, Dallas 89, and the winless Boston Patriots have scored 92 points. Dallas has the second lowest scoring offense in football, and just ahead of the 1-7 New Orleans Saints. All right, well, that'll do it, folks. Please like and subscribe. Hope you enjoyed week 8, and we will get week 9 played out here and posted as soon as possible. So with that, until week 9, have yourself a good day.